welcome to Cricket Next. Well, we are in the last month of this year, and with that comes IPL auction. IPL 2023 auction will be there on December 23 in Kochi, and there'll be so much excitement over there. In the month of November, we saw the retention day, wherein some teams came up with surprising elements. They retained some players, released some big players, and all of those things happened. But in today's video, we'll be talking about a team which played its first season in the last year, that's IPL 2022, and they ended up on the third position. And to talk about that team in detail, I have with me Saikat Ghosh. Well, Saikat, I haven't named the team. I believe that you might have guessed it, which team we are going to talk about today, because that was the team that played its first IPL tournament in IPL 2022, and they ended up number three. So I want you to tell everybody about this team and how they played.
Obviously, we are talking about Lucknow Super Giants, aren't we? But
Yeah,
yeah, but mid season, but didn't look like they were playing their first season. Finished third, as you mentioned, and a lot of people will say that Lucknow Super Giants, had a great team. But let me mention that they won most of their matches, but then
yeah.
they went on to lose and their 6 matches, the 2 matches each came against 3 matches against two match each against 3 teams came against their qualifying teams like Rajasthan Royals and
Hmm.
the teams which were being the top 4 finish, and they went on to lose both of those games against those teams, which clearly shows that LSG was not that good as it was perceived to be. LSG has certain areas. It could be KL Rahul's slow batting. It could be KL Rahul's passive captaincy. A lot of issues were there, but since the team was really good, they managed to eke out stay clear of the dangers and finished at number 3. So yeah, good season for LSG, but a lot of room for improvement as well.
Well, I believe, Saket, it was the tournament of the new teams because we there were two new teams. One won the IPL title, and the another one finished in the top three. So that becomes really big news for the debut teams. But when we see the retention day that happened in November, we saw there were some really big names that were released and retained. Now, talking about the players who were released by Lucknow Super Giants, so there's a big name that I can see, Jason Holder, and there are other players as well. What do you have to say? What do you think is the biggest player here who is released by LSG?
Obviously, Jason Holder has got to be the guy because Jason Holder is not only a great bowler who can be used up front with the new ball. I still remember Sunrisers Hyderabad used to deploy Jason Holder as a new ball bowler, but he's also a very great batter, and sometimes he's promoted at number 4. So
Yeah.
Jason Holder is a dicey release. Could have been better he been retained. But then again, a team cannot retain everyone because of the constraints we have, and that's what makes IPL such interesting to watch. Besides this, Evan Lewis, I'll say Evan Lewis is a very good batter. He could have made a difference there in the middle order. Dushmant Chamira is a good bowler to be left out. I'm sure LSG would like to buy him back. Andrew Tai quite deserving. Andrew Tai, Ankit Rajput, Shahbaz Wani, Manish Pandey. Obviously, Manish Pandey has got a lot of weight among Indian cricket fans because Manish Pandey, remember, was the first Indian to score a century in IPL in 2009. So Manish Pandey is also someone who will make news when it comes to IPL auctions.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we are seeing at the purse, the amount that they have in their purse is 23.35 crores. Now, Saket, do you think it's enough for this team given the players that they have retained and also given the players they have released? So do you think it's okay? It'll be a good time for them on December 23?
I think LSG has their teams completely, charted out. If I could ask our producer to show us the players' retained graphics, we'll see that, as you can see, their core is completely set in KL Rahul, Ayush Badoni, Karan Sharma, Manan Vora. Their team is already set. So I don't think they'll go into a buying spree. Since they have money, I think you asked me, do they have the enough amount? I think yes, they do. They'll be looking to fill in someone for Jason Holder, and there is the news going on that they are going to go after Ben Stokes. Now Ben
Mm.
Stokes, Sam Curran, these guys, Ben Stokes especially is around 2 crore bracket, and as our viewers know by now that the purse with LSG that's left is 23 crores. So
Yeah.
they have enough money to go on the buying spree, but I don't think LSG is going to do it because they have their core ready here. Quinton de Kock, KL Rahul, Deepak Huda. These three are the players who actually led them last time around. So I think LSG wouldn't go for a buying spree, but if even if that changes, they have the money to make it happen.
Absolutely. We will talk about Ben Stokes, Sam Curran's availability, and will they be able to come in, or will LSG, root them for this season? But Saket, let's have a look at the players retained by this team, and there are, some significant names out there. And as you were talking about some players as well. Now we have Quinton de Kock, Marcus Stoinis, Deepak Huda is also there, Pranal Pandya is there. So when you see this team, do you think that this team is ready and they will be back in the top four teams in the coming IPL season as well?
A couple of things needs to change for that. They really need a good middle order enforcer because
Okay.
KL Rahul could be the second reason for not performing well because KL Rahul has copped a lot of heat because of his slow batting, and if he
Hmm.
continues to bat slowly in T20 cricket, it's gonna be difficult for him. That's why he's opening up the order. You cannot play KL Rahul in the middle order because he's very slow. Also, it all depends on Quinton de Kock, KL Rahul, and Deepak Huda. But in the middle, they need someone who could actually anchor the innings. So if they want to win this season, they need someone to anchor the middle innings. So they need a good middle order batter. Plus, they also need someone who could replace Jason Holder. And I'll also like to mention Dushmant Chamira. Dushmant Chamira, it's a very good T20 bowler. If you could find a replacement for him, why not have him on board? Because these three things, if they can sort out, I think LSG has a fighting chance to win the title in the second season only.
So that brings us to the point that we need all rounder, or we need a person who can fit that slot in the middle order. Now, in that sense, Saikat, that brings me to the names Ben Stokes, Sam Curran, both English players. We have seen what they have done in T20 World Cup. It was phenomenal performance from Sam Curran. Now, I'll first talk about Sam Curran only. Now, Lucknow Super Giants, they have 23 crores. They will be looking at some other players as well. But will they be eyeing at Sam Curran more? Because as you mentioned, that they need a person who can fill that slot, the middle order slot. So will it be Sam Curran or will it be Ben Stokes? We'll talk about Cameron Green later. But as you mentioned about, how we need to have a person in place of Jason Holder, then a person who can be an all-rounder. So in that sense, I believe Ben Stokes and Sam Curran will be the most probable options, isn't it?
Surely, I'll come back to what I mentioned. There are three particular slots they need to fill in. Ben Stokes obviously could be a very good replacement for Jason Holder. That's the first thing they need to look after. It could be either Sam Curran, could be Ben Stokes or Cameron Green. Uh,
Hmm.
they're gonna pick one out of these three. Then moving on, a replacement for Manish Pandey. Now, what could be a good replacement for Manish Pandey? I think Mayank Agarwal can be a good substitute. Mayank Agarwal has been released by Punjab Kings, so Mayank Agarwal can come to LSG. Let's not forget it can happen. So is Riley Russo. Riley Russo, the South African batter who got a century against India in Indore recently, can
Hmm.
also be a very good middle order batter to fill in. Nicholas Puran can also be a good handy batter. We all know that he's a very good wicket keeper, but I am naming him just because on his batting skills. On his batting skills, he can be a very good addition to LSG. Besides this, Dushmant Chamira is the third part of the puzzle. Either you retain Dushmant Chamira or buy him back. Now you haven't retained him, so you gotta buy him back, or you can buy a guy called Josh Little from Ireland. Let's not forget that we'll have associate nations as well in this IPL auctions. Why not buy Josh Little as your substitute for Dushmant Chamira? So these are the three things that they need to do to win this IPL.
Well, absolutely. You've already mentioned what they need to do to win this IPL. But Saikat, there are a few things. And I'll like to go back to the point where you mentioned about Mayank Agarwal. KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, they have played together, in the last seasons when they were playing for the same team. Now, if Mayank Agarwal comes in, how strong will this team become?
Mayank Agarwal's recent form is not that great. Let's not
Hmm.
forget his last ODI century. I think his last ODI appearance I came back in 2019, I guess. And
Hmm.
after that, Mayank Agarwal's performance has not been up to the mark, and that is why he was released by Punjab Kings. Now, coming back to that chemistry thing, absolutely, you're absolutely correct that Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul have a chemistry between them, and why not? There is every chance that KL Rahul might recommend Mayank Agarwal, but
Hmm.
Mayank Agarwal as a T20 batter, I have my reservation because this guy is a classic Test match batter. Uh, Although let's not forget that Mayank Agarwal started his career in IPL in 2011, that is where people started to take note of him. But
Hmm.
currently, Mayank Agarwal, I have my apprehensions with him.
Well, let's see what happens on December 23. In our discussion, we have discussed at length that they will be eyeing for some big names in this IPL auction. It could be Ben Stokes, Sam Curran, but let's see what happens on December 23 in Kochi. Thank you so much, Saikat, for joining with me in this discussion.
Thanks for having me, Saramya. Thank you.
So we were talking with Saikat Ghosh, who explained us in detail that what could be LSG's plan. Well, LSG had a good tournament, a decent one in IPL 2022. They ended up on third position, but this time they will be definitely eyeing to clinch that title. And for that, they really need to fix those slots. As Saikat mentioned, that they really need a possible replacement for Jason Holder, and also they need an all-rounder kind of a person out there in the middle order. So for that, Ben Stokes, Sam Curran could be really great option. But let's see what happens on December 23 in Kochi. Till then, stay tuned with us for latest updates on Cricket Next YouTube channel, or you can also stay tuned with us on our various social media handles. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.